Hey, how are you all doing, my loves? I have been missing sitting down and filming some new content, but here we are. I have this eye look on. I'm sure you would have already seen it in another video, but today we are just playing around with MAC Cosmetics, and this is like a trip down memory lane because these are some goodies that I loved for such a long while. I don't know why did I ever kind of stop using these, because we every day have a new launch and it just gets too overwhelming being a content creator, of course. So therefore I just really wanted to take some time and see how we have been loving all the MAC products that we have, and it's quite a bit. And I also have a new MAC foundation, and you will have to watch the whole video to know that. This is the first time that I tried that foundation out, and it was such a pleasant surprise that I totally ended up loving it. So make sure you watch the whole video and let's just jump right in. So to begin with, I am going to be using the MAC Strobe cream, and since I'm wearing pink, I'm using the shade Pinklite. Now this is something which is a cult favorite for a reason. I'm taking about this much and majorly focusing it towards the high points of the face. That's obviously the cheekbones, and then just taking the rest. Now it might look a little too glowy for a moment, but you really don't want to worry about it because it is going to look perfect once you have your foundation on. So this is what the quick slick looks like, and it is basically just a hair essence. It's like a hair mascara, to be precise. So this is what the wand looks like, and what it basically does is it just tames your hair away without making it all that crispy and crunchy, which a hairspray would. So this basically does that, and it is especially good for all that baby hair that we have. You can just tame those down and get that slick look. This one is by the brand, insert name here. That's the name of the brand, and you can get it through some Instagram reseller. And I think I also had like an Indian version of the same product. You could get something like this from Amazon, so check that out. So moving on, I am going to be using this Conceal and Correct palette. This one is in the shade Medium Deep, and I'm going to be correcting my dark circles with the darkest shade in the palette. Now this is a makeup artist kit staple, and till the time I did my bridals, I always had this one with me. So it just came very handy because it does have some concealers. Then you have a contour shade. Then you have the orange corrector. This one is like a peach corrector. So these are NC40 and W40. Then you have NC42. Then you have NW43. Then you have a rich yellow and a burnt coral. So this one could be used for brightening as well. It just comes in so handy to, color correct. The texture of this one is supremely creamy, and that just makes it very beginner friendly as well. And you also get like a fair medium. You have a few variations of this available, and that is just very helpful depending on your skin tone, of course. So we are all color corrected, and now I'm going to get into the star product of the day, because this is something that I've not used before this. Now this is the Studio Fix Tech cream to powder foundation. I've not used this before, and this one is supposedly, you don't really need to kind of set it, and this is what I've heard. It's a natural matte finish, medium buildable coverage, and lightweight and transformative texture, which is very cool. So this is what the product looks like, and this is also available in India now, which is very cool because it was not available earlier. So I am taking my foundation brush and I'm directly dipping into the foundation with my foundation brush. I am using the shade NC30 here, and it seems to be a perfect match. Just look at that difference. It just looks very natural and very skin-like, and I'm obsessed already. So it also does come with a sponge, but it's that usual sponge which I do not really like, and I'm all in all a brush girl, so I am going to be using my brush, but you can of course use your sponges as well. How evenly, how even does my skin look? It just looks very beautiful. It just matches me so beautifully, and the fact that I did not have to blend this a lot as some of the liquid foundations kind of need is brilliant. Alright, so now moving on to concealers, I am going to be using the same palette again, and I am going to use NC40, and I'm going to be using this shade to kind of cover up my corrector. Okay, so if you have been following me for a while, you would know that I am completely obsessed with using two concealers in my makeup routine. One which is pretty close to my skin tone, and one to kind of brighten it up. So therefore I am going to be using another concealer, which of course is not something from this palette. Now I'm going to be using this concealer. This is the Pro Longwear concealer, but this is in the shade NC30 again, and I'm just going to take just this much. Again, just using my concealer brush, I am going to use this to brighten my under eyes. So I totally love this concealer because it's so lightweight, so thin in texture, but gives you such a beautiful coverage that you can truly cover everything that you just do not want peeking through that beautiful base of yours. And now I am going to set Studio Fix powder plus foundation. I'm just going to take a very tiny powder brush. That difference is just so satisfying to look at. And as you can see, I'm just pressing and not moving the product around too much, because this is going to be a very precise setting, since this foundation is a cream to powder, so I don't really need to set everything, right? So that is why I'm using a very tiny little brush. So I'm basically just setting the areas where I kind of crease. For me is going to be my forehead, my under eye of course, and then it's also going to be my chin, just this region right under my lip, around my mouth. since I make a lot of expressions. So therefore I really need to set that. Now this particular powder foundation I truly love because it of course gives you a little bit of added coverage, but it is not cakey at all, and there are very few powder, basically pressed powders or pressed compacts that I like, and this of course is one of the top ones. And this is one trick that I always like to do with this one, is whatever, just a very tiny amount of this powder is something that I just use to blend my eyeshadow very seamlessly, and I could just take a tad bit more and kind of blend it around this area as well. So what this would do is it would just kind of melt away and there would be no harsh edges left, and this is something that I truly swear by. So there we go, and now it's time for the blush and the bronzer and of course the highlighter. So let's get into that. So I am in the mood for a contour today, and therefore I am using this Studio Fix Sculpt and Shape Contour palette, and I am going to be using this shade right here, and I'm using a very small angled brush to just stamp the contour first, because I do not want this to go around everywhere. So this is where my contour is going to be placed, and I'm sure you can see that this is a very cool toned powder, and that is something that we need for a contour majorly. And now I am going to take a small blending brush and just blend this away, and I'm still majorly just buffing it in. And we can already see that subtle shadow. And there we go. And now I am going to use the same technique here. So we all need that chiseled jawline, right? Even if we don't naturally have it. So this is like the best technique that you can do for that. So we are majorly done with contouring, and now I'm going to bronze up my face. And to bronze my face, I am using the Give Me Sun bronzer. Now I do not think that this one is available in India, but you can see the difference between a contour and a bronzer right here. If you look at this one, this is very orangey red, and as compared to that one was very gray. So that is the major difference that you want to keep in mind when you're buying your contour versus bronzer. Now a contour goes into the hollows, whereas a bronzer goes right above it, and that is what we are doing. And there we go, we have that sculpted face right there in seconds. And now it's time for the blush, and for that I am super excited because I have like a very beautiful blush right here. Now this is in the shade Fleur Power. This is one of my favorite pink blushes, and this is not really a purely matte blush but more of a satin per se. So there I have my blush. That just slight flush of color, just does that trick for me. Okay, so since I did not have a loose powder by MAC, I used the Studio Fix Compact, right? But this is one little thing that I really want to say out loud. So this does not set the concealer the way I would want it to. And you can see the concealer is already settling into fine lines. So therefore, I always, like to stick to loose powders for the under eyes, and you could use a compact for the rest of the face, but for under eyes it's a big bummer for me. So if you like using your compact under your eyes, please go ahead, keep doing so, but I do not like it and I'm again regretting my decision. Alright, so for the highlighter I have something really beautiful. Can you see that beautiful carving? This is the Double Gleam Extra Dimension Skinfinish highlighter, and just very subtle sheen. And this is the best thing about MAC highlighters, that they're not glittery or chunky. They're just slightly, they'll just give you a very slight sheen and not accentuate your texture or whatever. So that is one of the best highlighters in the market. So the eyes are complete. I do have some jewelry on, and now we're going to finish up the lips. And for my lips, I am using the matte lipstick in the shade Yash. And to finish those lips, I think I want to go for Stripdown. Such a beautiful lip color. And I also have a gloss, and if you know and if you are a gloss fanatic, this one is in the shade Oyster Girl, and this is one of my favorite glosses ever. I'm just going to shake things up in here and then apply it. This is my best way of doing it. And there we have it. I really want to keep my lips pretty nude with this eye look, and the face definitely looks beautiful. Just the under eyes are a thing of concern for me here, because it definitely is creasing very, very badly. But I think right now we just cannot do anything and we just have to deal with it, right? So there you have it. It just looks so stunning. I love how everything is turned out. Let's just ignore the fact that my under eyes are creasing very badly. But other than that, everything is just so beautiful. And I just want to say this out. If you haven't used MAC Bullet lipsticks, you are not a makeup lover otherwise, because I have like a whole collection of MAC Bullets and I just love them to the core. I mean, MAC was the first brand ever to actually launch such beautiful shades of nudes, and there are so many of them. I mean, you just cannot get enough of these, and therefore I just adore MAC for this. And honestly, in terms of the foundation range as well, I think MAC was of course the first one to launch such a wide range of shades and be so inclusive. Now it's just a trend, but otherwise, of course, MAC was the first one. We just cannot forget that, right? So this is pretty much it for this video. I really hope you liked it, and I would see you guys in my next one. But please, 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 if you like this video, definitely subscribe. it would mean the absolute world to me. And of course, my family here would grow, and I would be really appreciative of that. And also definitely follow me on Instagram, because I do a lot of tutorials there, and you will definitely end up learning something new when you watch those. So goodbye, take care, and I love you all so much. Thank you so much for sticking around, and I really hope that you guys like it, and I will see you guys. Goodbye.